I'll tell you what, who would have thunk that the Pittsburgh Panthers, the Pitt Panthers, control not only their fate to go to the college football playoff, but others in the ACC game as well. This is another edition of ATL Prime Sports. I'm Todd Corder. Larry's with us this evening. Larry Gardner, of course, our producer. Wayne Ridenhour and JJ's out tonight, and our guest will be Dave Cohen, the voice of the Georgia State Panthers, with the Dave Cohen Report. That'll come up momentarily. But, gentlemen, back to my opening statement. Pitt, they play Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and I believe, I can't remember the other ACC opponent. I had it in my head. But anyway, they played three pretty good teams to end the year. I'm not sure if it's Miami or not, but they not only control their fate, but they control the fate of others. Who would have thought that at this point in the wild ACC? There are so many ramifications to the playoff that they even include James Madison. If they win out, do they get in? I mean, we could go through every conference, Larry, forever. I mean, we could do an entire show on this and break down each conference. I just think it's fascinating.
No, you're absolutely right. And we will be live on the sidelines there for Georgia Tech and Pitt, who plays November 22nd there at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. And that game could be the precursor to the destination for Georgia Tech, could be the precursor for the destination to Pitt. They've got a gauntlet to go through if they're going to even sniff the college football playoff. But there's a lot to be said with the latest rankings of the college football playoff. It looks like the SEC and the Big Ten are going to get what they want, and then it's going to be maybe 3 or 4 spots left for everybody else. So a lot that's still left to be played for, and we get into the thick of it here as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday season.
Yeah, it is Miami. I was correct. I had it right. It is Miami. Pitt plays Notre Dame at home on the 15th. They go to Georgia Tech. The start is to be determined. And then they play Miami on the 29th. So that's going to be awesome. As soon as I know that start, I'll know whether I'm at courtside at Georgia State for a basketball game that evening. I might have to work the scoreboard, but we'll see, depending on the start of Georgia Tech and Pitt. But Wayne, your Memphis Tigers are in this thing real quick.
Well, the only thing I've got to worry about the Tigers is East Carolina. They go to East Carolina over there in the North Carolina area for one of their last games, and that is the one that scares me the most.
Well, if they went out, I mean, I feel, and we got to get Dave here on any second, I feel the AAC champion is going to be the group of 5 participant, but we'll find out. Let's go ahead and bring Dave Cohen on right now, and let's include him in this conversation. Dave, I don't know if you were listening, if you could catch it or not. And this is the Dave Cohen report here on ATL Prime Sports. Dave, this is fascinating. The group of 5 situation, the ACC situation, and so on and so forth. JJ and I talked about it off the air today briefly. But do you feel that James Madison will get in if they win out? B, or do you feel the AAC champion is going to get in? Or C, if Duke wins the ACC, can each of them get in? How about that for an opening question?
Well, first of all, Todd and Larry and Wayne, good evening. Thanks for having me back on the ATL Prime Sports Report. Let me tell you why, even though it would be great for the Sun Belt Conference, let me tell you why I think James Madison does not get in. And you could point right back to their 14-7 win over Georgia State in Atlanta. You know, when that committee goes to sit in the boardroom or room where they go to meet privately to talk about what is going to go down with seeding and entrance into the college football playoff, just like the NCAA basketball tournament. You've heard me rant about the SEC getting 14 schools in, 14 of the 16 last year, and 6 of them had losing records in their conference during the regular season, and here they are getting at-large bids. Why? Because they put a lot of emphasis on strength of schedule. And I think what will hurt James Madison, they will dissect the JMU schedule, and just as an example, they'll point to their 14-7 win over Georgia State, who's right now 1-8 and 0-5 in Sun Belt Conference play, and they will hold that road conference win, strength of schedule, against James Madison for being the team that gets the group of 5 or the group of 6 playoff. You could be right, Todd. Whoever wins the American Athletic could be the school that represents the group of 6. But that's why I think JMU will not be selected. And how many wins did they have? How many of their wins are against teams that do not have winning records or winning conference records?
Not very many. Their strength of schedule is not going to help them. I agree 100% with you, Dave. You know, there would be an outside shot. The only shot I see maybe is if Duke happened to win the ACC and they could take 2 group of 5 teams. And I'm not even sure happens there. I thought it was fascinating. I know it's very low. I think I have as much chance to win the lotto as James Madison has at getting in the playoff. I agree with you, Dave.
Todd, they are not taking 2 group of 5 schools.
I don't think so neither. Nope, I don't think so neither. I tried to tell JJ that today, and he's going, well, Duke wins the ACC. I'm like, JJ, you know what? No, it's not going to happen.
No. Again,
no, it's not.
It's the reason why they got 14 schools into the NCAA tournament. They're,
right.
You know, I'm talking about the SEC. They totally based it on strength of schedule. I even said to the Sun Belt Commissioner, Keith Gill, this summer when I was at Sun Belt Media Day for football, he's always on the radio show that we do, and I always ask him a question or two about basketball. And my question was pretty to the point. Will we, the Sun Belt, ever be able to overcome the strength of schedule argument to get 2 teams in the NCAA men's basketball tournament? The answer right now is a resounding no. And it's kind of the same situation on we'll call it a smaller scale for football, because at least with the NCAA basketball tournament, you're talking, what, 68 schools right now?
Mm-hmm.
In the playoff, you're talking how many? 12?
Yeah.
Right. Now, if they open the thing up to 24, that would be a better conversation to have, or more interesting one. But as of right now, they can't even agree on anything more than 12, with the ramifications going to 16. So you might as well not even discuss it.
Well, I've said it for years after working at Furman University for 12 years on their radio network, and Furman being a perennial playoff team. Why is it that FCS can have a 24-team playoff and crown a true national champion, but FBS can't?
TV.
Okay, so are we playing the games to crown a true national champion, or are we doing what television wants everybody to do? Because that's
it's television.
It's what advertisers request as well. They want the big games.
That gets to the root of it, but that doesn't solve the issue.
No.
The issue is, are we opening it up to crown a true national champion, or are we more concerned about what national television needs and wants? Is the tail wagging the
Dave?
Is the dog wagging the tail, or is the tail wagging the dog?
Larry, what do you think, man? Jump in on this, puppy.
No. The inmates are running the asylum, Dave, is what's going on, and you know that just as well as I do. And it's literally going to be which set of schools are going to produce the most TV revenue, so that everybody that's controlling the whole puppet can continue to stack money into their bank accounts. That's literally what it's all about. You're not trying to
You're
and you're
exactly
not
right.
trying to crown a real champion. And that's unfortunate for the student athletes who put in the work and the grind, and the coaches and everybody at the administration of these institutions who legitimately want the right to say that we're the best in the country. It is a sad, sad state of events that we're dealing with, unfortunately, because you do have people who legitimately want to say that we're the best in the land, and they won't get the opportunity to play for that.
Answers to that question. The SEC and the Big Ten, they are RTS. They run the television show and they run the show for the playoff, and they're going to get the majority of the teams in, no question.
And it's going to be like that every year.
Correct.
So it is what it is. And to be honest with you, and I'm not, listen, we just, Larry hit the nail on the head with what the situation is. And just from me, this is just me speaking on my behalf and for nobody else. As a sports fan, it's really why once Georgia State's regular season is done and the Sun Belt Bowls are done, whether we're in a bowl game or not, I lose interest in college football personally because it's the same dadgum teams every year.
Yeah.
Because that's what television wants. Okay.
New commercials, though.
Yeah, exactly. But I lose interest in it. But that's just me. I realize that a bulk of the viewing public wants to see Alabama and Ohio State and Texas and Georgia and basically the same 12 teams every year. What did I used to tell you, Todd, when we started doing these shows? It's built a really nice treehouse effect. They built a really nice treehouse. 12 of them got up in the nice treehouse. They pulled the ladder up, and everybody else is looking up at them saying, hey, let us up, let us up. And they're like, no.
It's an inclusive club, and most of them are not invited. I mean, you're probably going to get one Big 12, one ACC, and if Notre Dame wins out, I'm telling you, I don't care if they lost to Miami or not. Gentlemen, they are getting in.
Right. Some of the schools that we have become accustomed to seeing in the postseason, the LSUs, the Auburns, the Floridas, Arkansas, some of the big boys that are not doing well, who have already fired their head coaches. There'll be some new big name faces that take those spots, but primarily it's the same, 12 teams out of the same 20 body of schools. So whatever.
And look at, down the street from you, Dave, you have Georgia Tech. And, this would be an amazing story if they got in. Their strength of schedule is not good. But if they went out, they're going to get in. And they would have a win over Georgia. Now, I don't think it's going to happen. A lot of folks are saying, well, lose to Georgia and take care of the ACC and you'll still get in. And that's most likely to happen. But get as many strikes, Dave, Larry, and Wayne, as everybody else when they get a chance to bowl. Okay? They miss pins, they're done.
Yeah. Well, and as far as Georgia State goes, what games are coming up, football and basketball? And if you could give us a little bit of preview on who you expect to be good in the Sun Belt, I'd be interested in that since we're swinging into basketball a bit.
Well, I'll be honest.
Go back to football. Go ahead.
I was going to say, with regards to basketball, I think it's a little too early to say, who's going to run the roost in the Sun Belt in basketball. I will say this, right now it doesn't look like Georgia State will, unless we get our act together, because we're 0-3, coming off a bad loss to Presbyterian College the other night. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, that is a bad loss. Yeah. We were up 14. We were up 10 at halftime, and momentum shifted from one end of the floor to the other, and they won it on a shot with 2.6 seconds to go. But that is a bad loss. They've got Fort Valley State coming up Thursday night, and then Sunday we leave for Arizona, and we're at Arizona State on Monday night. In the meantime, Yep. And then they play in South Dakota on a Friday night, and then head down to Cancun for 2 games against New Mexico State and Sanford. I'll be in Cancun. I won't.
Are you going to South Dakota and Cancun? May I ask?
Well, I cannot go to South Dakota because I'll be with football over in Troy, Alabama.
Okay, but that's a good thing. You don't have to freeze to death. What about Cancun?
Well, I'll be going to Cancun the Sunday I get back from Troy. But let me tell you, I kind of wish I was going to South Dakota because that's one of the states I've never visited. So that could have been a bucket list state to check off. But I won't be able to make that trip. And listen, Georgia State football needs a win in the worst way. They got beat at Coastal Carolina last Saturday night, 40-27. They're, as I said earlier, they're 1-8 and 0-5. And it's senior day. It's the final home game of the regular season. The last 2 games will be at Troy and Old Dominion. As Coach McGee told me, right now the goal is to send those seniors out with a win in their final regular season home game at Center Park Stadium. But, it's a little bit of a tall order. We'll see. Marshall comes in having lost 2 straight. They lost to Coastal Carolina 2 weeks ago, and they lost to James Madison last week. So we'll see.
Now
that games.
Those games that you've got down there in the, did you say it was Cancun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that, when is that? In November 20-something?
It's the 25th and 26th.
Okay.
It's the Tuesday and Wednesday right before Thanksgiving.
Okay, because right before that, I think Memphis goes down to play in the Bahamas, and I think they face Purdue of all teams.
Okay. Yeah, this will be the second time that I've gone to Cancun with basketball. A handful of years ago, when Ron Hunter was still there, we played in the Cayman Islands. Actually played Georgia down in the Cayman Islands. But periodically these kind of trips will come up. I've been with them twice to Hawaii over the years. Again, once to Cancun, once to Cayman Islands. So it's nice. You get, it's a 3-game event. Like I said, you start out in South Dakota against South Dakota State, and then you head down to Mexico to play 2 games. They're going to play Samford University down there on that Tuesday, and they'll play New Mexico State the next day on that Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Larry would like to do some PA. I'll do color with you if you take us to Cancun.
Yeah, it's a rough trip.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Larry, you ready to go?
Listen, I'll do whatever it takes. I can do PA, I can do play-by-play, I can do color, I can run stats, I can just sit there and hold a camera in front of the face. I'll hold a microphone, whatever it takes.
Just stick me in the cargo. I don't even need a plane seat.
I know, right? Dave, you talked about how
the equipment bag.
Hey, whatever it takes to get past TSA these days, right? Dave, question: Georgia State's had a rough year. We all know it's been tough for Coach McGee. Defense has been reeling game after game after game. It seems like at least after these last 3, defense is allowing over 30 points a game. What do you attribute the struggles defensively to? And then not only that, what is the outlook next year to be able to even get some help defensively to kind of bring those numbers down?
Stopping the run.
Yep. Well, you mentioned the 30 points. Georgia State is giving up an average of, I think, 41 points a game through 9 games this year. Look, you don't have to be a mathematician to figure it out. That number really needs to, at this point, be cut in half just to have a shot. I mean, allowing an average of 41 points really puts stress on your offense because, we're not averaging.
They can't stop the run, Dave.
Can't stop the run. Can't stop the pass. Faced a really good quarterback in Samari Collier at Coastal Carolina last week. The first play from scrimmage, Collier, an 85-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't even taken a second breath, and Coastal Carolina had scored a touchdown and was up 7-0. And, of course, Georgia State in that first quarter went toe-to-toe with them. It was 7-0, then 7-7, then 14-7, then we tied it at 14. And then they, went up, I think 17-14 or 20-14 at the half. And, they ran away with it. And we didn't score any points we scored one touchdown in the second half, or in the fourth quarter, I should say. But when you're allowing 40 or 41 points a game, Larry, and as far as a remedy, I mean, there's only one remedy. Well, there are two remedies. And I can't speak as to whether or not, there are going to be any changes on the coaching staff, but the first and foremost, the remedy is you got to bring in some players that can play. And, the Sun Belt is, at least in our world, the Sun Belt's Eastern Division is tough. It's James Madison, it's Marshall. I know Appalachian State's not having a great year, but they're always tough for us to play. We've never beaten them in 12 games that we've played them since they joined the Sun Belt. Georgia Southern is one of those games, throw the records out. We played them down there this year, played them well until the fourth quarter when they outscored us and ended up beating us. Coastal Carolina is really good. It's going to be like that every year. Old Dominion's really good. We'll see them in 2 weeks after we play at Troy. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, can you get the players in here, knock on wood, keep the players healthy enough to play a full season? And do you have guys that can play up when somebody goes down in front of them? And,
the depth
right
is
now,
huge.
Well, right now, there's some injuries on the defensive side of the field. They're, as Coach McGee has pointed out, they are now playing some young guys who they were not expecting to play to take on the kind of playing time that they're taking on. So it is what it is. But it's going to be the same scenario every year. The only thing that I hope will be different, and you guys have heard me talk about this earlier, this month when we talked about it, Georgia State cannot schedule two SEC top 20 programs in the first month of the season and play Wayne's Memphis Tigers, who at the time, and Wayne was at that game, were they 25 or 26 in the country when they came into Atlanta?
I believe so.
Okay, so Georgia State in the first month played 3 top 25 programs, 2 of them on the road at Vanderbilt and at Ole Miss, and a top 25, even if they were number 25, really good Memphis Tiger program at Center Park Stadium. We cannot play that kind of a schedule because what it does is it obviously digs the program in a hole like it did this year. You're 1-3. You suffer some injuries playing two SEC schools in 4 weeks, and they've never recovered from it. Yeah. Because the first 2 conference games were at home with James Madison and with Appalachian State. And I know
is that going to change in the future? Is that going to change, or what? I haven't looked at next year's schedule. Is it more of the same?
No, it's and I cannot remember exactly all 4 of the schools that we're playing next year, but it is not the gauntlet that this year's schedule was. And listen, while I say that, I'm not making excuses, and here's why: because Georgia State took home a check from Ole Miss. That was a guarantee game. We all knew that up front. And if you had told me 2 years ago, you're going to play home and home with Vanderbilt, you're going to beat Vanderbilt in Atlanta, and you're going to get drilled by Vanderbilt in Nashville, I would have said, give me the pen, I'll sign off on it, because that means you've beaten an SEC school at home in exciting fashion, which we did last year. I'm just saying, moving forward, this program needs wins.
Yep.
We are not in the Southeastern Conference. If we're going to play one SEC school and get a check, that's fine. The other 3 games have to be manageable games that you can compete in and you can have a really good shot to win.
Yeah,
you're 100% correct, Dave. And you're right. I mean, you're behind the 8 ball. The team's demeanor and confidence is shot because they've been dusted 3 games in a row and not a chance to win. Their psyche is really hurting going into week 4. And then you mentioned the top of the conference you're playing early on. I mean, the fact that they gave James Madison a game at 14-7 early in the season is a testament to the team at that point, because that was their best defensive performance of the year by far.
Yeah, and I know hindsight is what it is. Shortly thereafter, Coach McGee made that quarterback change and starting Cameron Brown. I'm not sure of his status for this week, coming out of Coastal Carolina. He played the first half. TJ Finley played the second half. But in hindsight, being what it is, if James Madison comes to Atlanta and plays the same way they played against us in that 14-7 game, and Cameron Brown is our starting quarterback for that game, I think Georgia State wins that game.
It's fair to say. Why don't we switch over to basketball? You mentioned they're 0-3, and to me, points in the paint have really hurt Georgia State. They got hammered in the paint against Eastern Michigan. They've been hammered in the paint for the first 3 games. Cincinnati was somewhat okay, and then the last game against Presbyterian, they lost that battle in the paint. Does that surprise you based on what you thought you were going to see coming into the season?
Yeah, to a certain extent. Clash Peters has not been with the team yet this year. He's dealing with a personal situation, so that's the loss of an experienced 6'9" post presence that's not with him. Dennis Scott's son, Trey Scott, or Dennis Scott Jr. When I saw him the other night, he's in a boot. That's 6'10", 6'11" that's on the bench. You're right. The first game up in Ypsilanti, Michigan, we got killed on the offensive boards. They had 22 offensive rebounds, and they took advantage from a scoring standpoint of their presence on the offensive glass. Again, I did not make the trip with them to Cincinnati because I was with football at Coastal Carolina. They played a lot better. They shot a lot better. They didn't win the game.
They lost by 10.
They lost by 10, 74-64. And then the other night, like I said, that loss to Presbyterian, and I give Presbyterian credit. That's a pretty good starting 5 that they put on the floor the other night. And they got down by as many as 14. They were down 10 at halftime. And we said this on our game broadcast. We talk so much about teams making adjustments in the locker room at halftime. It was so evident. And I don't know what the adjustment was. It was evident by their attitude and their enthusiasm and their energy that in the early minutes of the second half, it was a different Presbyterian College team than what we saw on the floor in the first half. They came out with all the energy. They were making shots. They were playing tight defense. And as I said to Lamont McIntosh, who does color with me, or did color with me on that broadcast, I said to him, the longer this game goes on, and it's a close game, these guys are feeling pretty confident that they can get on the bus with a win and go back to Clinton, South Carolina. And that's exactly what happened in the end. We ended up losing 63-61. The kid that had the hot hand all night, Carl Parrish, ends up hitting a shot from the right side of the rim with 2.6 seconds remaining, and that was all she wrote. That's a bad loss. And they've got to bounce back against Fort Valley before they go to South Dakota and then go down to Cancun.
I don't know much about Fort Valley State. What conference are they in?
SIAC. That's
okay.
The one I do in football. And Fort Valley's got a nice basketball arena. I've done the state finals in there. That is a really nice arena, and it's Division II, but I'll tell you what, they'll come to play.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not going to lay down. Fort Valley has came to Clayton State since I've been there, and I'm telling you what, Clayton State's women went over to Georgia State, and they didn't do so bad. And then they finally Georgia State was able to pull away from Clayton State, but they hung in there for a while. So
listen, the
Division II schools. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
No, you're exactly right, but it's the trickle-down effect. We talk about the transfer portal, and we think about it only in terms of, group of 5 kids jumping up to Power 4. or Power 4 kids dropping down to Group of 5 or Group of 6. Don't forget about Division II. There's a lot of Division I kids that make the jump down to Division II where they can actually play. They can get on the field or they can get on the court. Division II has been, has benefited from the transfer portal as well, based on the amount of talent that has trickled down to the Division II level. And the same with FCS. And I know FCS is, Division I. It's a step above. It's a step below FBS and a step above Division II. But all of those lower levels have benefited from the transfer portal. Not so much from NIL, but from the transfer portal in some
right. They don't get anything. Right. That's 100% correct. And Larry, you're doing you're doing basketball over there. What is that up there in the Rome area? You're doing, was that Division III up there?
I've done Division III at Berry. I've done Division II at Clark Atlanta. I've done Conference USA at Kennesaw State. I've done women's basketball already at ACC at Georgia Tech. So I've kind of seen it on all levels. And Dave's point is absolutely right. You begin to get ready to call starting lineups out doing PA, and you see this kid's transferred and he's coming from Illinois, and now he's playing at Clark Atlanta. Or you see a kid that's transferring from Shorter, and he's now playing at Berry, and they just go down another level. So kids are trying to get NIL, of course, but nowadays kids are trying to get where they can play. They want to get where they can play. It doesn't do good to be recruited by a good school, and you have to sit the bench 2 to 3 years, and wasted almost your whole collegiate career and ain't seen the floor. This is a generation of kids who want microwave results. They want it now. They don't want to wait.
They do. Yeah, sitting behind someone doesn't happen anymore. If you can't play, they'll just leave. I mean, nothing stops them. There's no transfer laws. I mean, you can do whatever in the heck you want. Some other school wants you, you'll leave. And Clayton State's roster changes greatly every year at the men's and women's level.
So does Georgia State. We've got 8 or 9 new players for basketball. We started summer practice or fall. What was it? Summer or fall practice with 70 new players. It'll probably be the same situation. Now, one thing they did is they did narrow the transfer portal window, and I think what is it now? Is it January? Are there 15?
Right. I think there's only one now. There's not 2 of them. Is that correct, Larry? Do you know?
Yes, it is just one.
I think it's in January.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely correct. January. They did it after the first signing day period.
My question is, guys, and Larry, Wayne, Dave, chime in. Why in the world would you do it then? Because that's when some teams are in the playoffs. Penn State lost its backup quarterback a year ago. I don't even know if there's a perfect time to do it. Maybe at when the semester ends in April or May, and then you can build your team through summer camp. But to me, that makes no sense at all.
Well, it's probably there because of some kind of leverage. That's the only reason I think they can have it.
My thinking is it's the start of the new calendar year. What do you think, Dave? Larry? Somebody?
Well, I think the academic calendar plays into it, obviously.
The academic calendar, Larry, to me, it's got to be that. It's got to be the academic calendar, the start of the new year. But that really, like I said, Penn State was without their backup quarterback in the playoff last year. And that's all the same at all levels of the playoffs.
Well, with the expansion of the college football playoff system, my opinion is they need to get rid of having 2 signing days, and they need to go back to the original first Wednesday in February. And here's the reason why. The national championship game is being played usually the first week or Saturday of February. So if you go back to the one signing day, that literally will finish right at the end of the college football playoff. You could have your transfer portal window open at the end of the semester, whether it be the beginning of May, middle of May, call it a day, and then you can have everybody that you need to have done. All of the transitions will be made by the time coaches start opening up camps in June, July, and August, they'll be ready to play ball. So I think they just need to eliminate the early signing day that takes place in December and go back to the original February, and then open up the transfer portal window right at the end of the semester, at the end of April, beginning of May.
Basketball would be affected in February. I think they should do it beginning of May every year when that semester is over. Then the sporting year is almost over, except for baseball and softball and track, and the other sports can build their team in the summer. Dave, what are your thoughts on any of that?
Okay, the other aspect of the transfer portal that I did not mention, and it really takes center stage recently with the number of coaches that have already been fired with games left on the regular season schedule, is that if your coach is fired, you have 30 days. You have a 30-day window that you can transfer out of that school in which your head coach has just been fired, whether it's Florida, whether it's LSU, whether it's Auburn,
Penn State,
Virginia Tech.
Is this even in the middle of the season? Can the kids just get up and go? I don't think they can they?
Yes,
the coach has been fired, yes.
I had to sit there and think about that for a minute. I didn't hear a lot of kids leave and pick up and leave. Did you guys? I never heard of anything.
They don't do it much, but the opportunity is there. If the coach is fired, you do have that 30-day window. Some take advantage, some don't. You don't hear about it as much as you would if it was a high-profile athlete, but the opportunity is there. It's just a lot of people don't take advantage of it. And I think there may be some NIL things to deal with that as well as to why they don't, but the opportunity is there.
Yeah, that would be. You got your NIL contract. I agree with that 100%. I'm thinking, why in the world would you leave your team in the middle of the year? From a competitive standpoint, that doesn't set well with me. Dave, he is right about the NIL. They're going to stay for the reason why. Why? I don't understand why you'd leave from that standpoint.
Because with everything that's going on, it's always been the proverbial question. Does Todd Corder sign with X school because he wants to play for that coach? Was it the coach and the relationship that drew you to X school, or was it just that you wanted to go to that school? Didn't matter who the coach was.
Right.
So you've always had that argument.
In the middle of the year, in the middle of the school year, in the middle of the year with the team, leaving your teammates, I can't process that.
Yeah, well, again, the mindset, as Larry pointed out a little earlier, the mindset is different. It's, you got kids that are jumping from school to school, and it's not the same. Recruiting is not the same. It's different now. There's not that, hey, I'm going to sign with X school and I'm going to stay for 4 years and I'm going to get my education and I'm going to build my collegiate career at playing for this coach at this university. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist at all, but it's more of a rarity now at the FBS level and at the high Division I level in basketball than it's ever been in the past, obviously.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's all money driven, TV driven. I mean, follow the money. You follow the money, you'll get your answer. But and it just, I don't know, times have changed. Dave, thanks so much for joining us this evening. And we didn't mean to keep you so long. Just got kind of in the middle of some subjects, talked about Georgia State football and basketball and other things around it. And thanks for joining us always. I don't know. Are you next Wednesday? Are you have basketball?
Next Wednesday, is that the 20? What's the 19th?
Today's the 12th. I had to look myself.
Yeah, I think the Cancun trip is the following Wednesday.
Oh, right before thanks. Oh, so you're. Yeah. No, I didn't know if you had a home game next week or next Wednesday, a basketball or on the road even.
We could very well. I'm not even looking that far ahead. I still got Fort Valley basketball on Thursday night, and I got Georgia State Marshall football on Saturday afternoon. Let me get past that, and then we'll look ahead.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, no problem. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us as always. Really appreciate your time. It's great talking to you. I'm going to do some games down there at Georgia State with the working the clock and all that. So hopefully I run into you. I know I have games. I've got 2 the Monday before Thanksgiving, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I know I won't see you then, but I may see you at other times.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that.
I'll look forward to it too. Thanks a lot for joining us. The GSU report, I have been told now. And thanks always with Dave Cohen, the voice of the Panthers. And Dave, thanks a lot for coming on as always.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll talk again next week after a couple of W's.
All right. Hey, I would like to hear that. That would be nice.
All right. Y'all take it easy.
All right.
Thank you so much. Boy, I just really appreciate Dave's time as always. Very gracious with it. We kept him a little longer than I thought we would, but we had some interesting subject, gentlemen. We really did. I mean, just talking about the scenarios from the group of 5 and the ACC alone is tremendous. And before we get to the Falcons and Larry takes his puppy over, if I was going to guess it, I'm going to say there's going to be 5 from the SEC, 3 from the Big Ten. That's 8. Notre Dame is 9. The group of 5 is 10. ACC. Well, Larry, what do you think?
No, I don't think there'll be I think it'll all be your major Power 4 conferences get in. I don't think they're going to allow a group of 5 to get in. I don't think they'll allow a group of 6
group of 5 to get in. It's in the contract. They're going to get one group of 5. I just said 5 SEC, 3 Big Ten, Notre Dame, an ACC, and a Big 12. What do you think?
Yes, I would agree with that.
That's what I agree with right now. They could shake up. Wayne, you asked me if Memphis is in it earlier today, and they certainly are in it. I mean, they're in it. Yes, they are in it.
No,
they are.
They're gonna find a way to say that the contract allows that best of 5 or what group of 5 that it's going to be Notre Dame covers that spot, so they don't really have to take anybody.
No. Notre Dame would not cover that spot. They would get get a group of 5 in. Okay. Notre Dame would not cover that.
Okay, why is Notre Dame getting in? If let's say they've got 3 losses, do they still get in?
Get in with 3 losses. They lose another game, Larry, they're done.
No, that would be the only way that I think. That would be the only way I think Memphis might get in is if Notre Dame does not.
Anything to do with that? I think they're going to choose a group of 5 team, and when looking at the standings, Memphis is 1 back. Okay, if they have, let's see here. If they beat East Carolina, maybe. Let's go back to the standings. This thing takes a second. Okay, and Navy is tied. Right now, Navy leads it. That would be a fascinating story if they made it.
Yep.
Look, South Florida, they lost to Tulane. So Tulane has to lose twice. But if South Florida loses once, North Texas loses once, East Carolina loses once, you have chaos. They still have a chance. I know it's not a great one, but there is a chance. I promise you there is a path for them.
All right.
Their way, Larry.
No, you're good, and you're absolutely right. There is several different scenarios that will play out between now and championship week. So you just got to keep winning. It's literally at this point, it's almost like March Madness, survive in advance, and then that's what you got to do at this point to be able to hopefully get a shot at competing for the college football national championship. Todd Corder, Wayne Rodner are with us here on ATL Prime Sports. If you like the content, give us a follow, share, like, tell them everybody you know. You ought to catch this show every time that you see it pop open on that subscribe button. Bang! You get that alert. We're dropping some new hits, some new content here on ATL Prime Sports. And we ain't going to keep you long. We got 2 more topics that we are going to cover, but we're going to do them quickly. And a couple of them, big-time news today, and I'll drop that out. TC's boy, first back-to-back Cy Young winner in a long, long time. I know you got some thoughts about that, but I'm going to hit you up at the end of the show about it, so we'll talk about scuba. But gambling, Cleveland Guardians pitchers get hit with gambling on baseball. My question, fellas, anytime you see a pitcher throw a baseball 55 feet instead of 60, anytime you see a pitcher or even a batter, act like he's not even going to take the bat and swing at the ball, are we now going to look at the sport, or any sport for that matter, with it's all set by Vegas? It's not even, it's scripted. It's scripted. What do you think?
Or if the fastball is down 3 miles an hour from where it is he hurt, or is he throwing slower on purpose? I mean, the batter, is he swinging to strike out, or is he swinging to, is he, good golly, I think this only scratches the surface. You saw in professional basketball what's going on. Chauncey Billups, won the championship with the Pistons back in the early 2000s under Larry Brown, a former Memphis coach, by the way. Look, he's busted. Other players are busted. I mean, this is going to hit. We should ask Dave about this. We can ask him another time, because this subject's not going to go away. I mean, it's not going to go away. It's just scratching the surface. It's gonna be in college. It's going to be in professional, and hell, who knows, one day it could be in high school. I would never rule it out. Think about that. I mean, seriously. I mean, the money to make for gambling is astronomical. But it really isn't for the player. It is for the gambler. Someone they may know, they want to help that individual become rich. Why are these guys risking very little money that they're going to get off this deal when they're making millions and they're set for life? That is the $1 million question that I've got, Larry. You're risking your future, your family's future, your life to go to prison because you're gambling on a small percentage of money and you make millions. I'm sorry, that's dumber than a box of rocks.
It really is. And I can't wrap my head around that to save my life. If you're Emmanuel Clay, so you're Luis Ortiz, Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, any of the other ones that have been arrested over the last month as a result of gambling, why would you throw that away when you're making well over that amount in your normal yearly salary? Wayne, what are your thoughts on gambling before we wrap this up and move to the Falcons?
Just a second, Wayne. Trying to take care of your homies to make sure they make money.
Well, I think it comes down to these players get it in their head that they've got a lot of pride and a lot of stuff that they, are supposed to have this persona or something of being a big shot and playing big. So I think they gamble big, and I think they get into debt. And I think that debt's handled large part by organized crime individuals who approach them about, how to pay off their debt. And one of the ways to do it is to start shaving games and doing shady stuff.
Not being a bookie, Wayne.
I'm just telling you.
You know what? These guys, instead of guilty, they need to plead guilty because the government's got quite a bit of evidence on them and start singing like a canary so they can get their sentence reduced. And if they start doing that, man, you want to talk about trickle-down economics? This will be trickle-down jailnomics because guys are going to be going to prison left and right, and we don't know how, as Eddie Murphy would say, deep undercover this really goes.
No, you're absolutely right. And to think the whole purpose that we all begin to play sports with as children is just innocent competition to see who's best, and to see how all of that can be affected now with literally just like the old cartoons with dangling a carrot in front of a horse, how you can take these grown men who have trained, who have sacrificed, who have done everything that us, what I call little folks, would love to be in their position. They have done all of this and are willing to throw it away because of the debt that Wayne talked about. And I can tell you, I mean, we can look at, to me, in my humble opinion, one of the most legendary basketball players of all time, and Michael Jordan, and how there are several reports of how he used to play a game and then go to gamble and gamble hundreds of thousands of dollars away, and like it was nothing. You know, this ain't anything that's just come about. You know, this is
him. It was
go ahead,
competition. He wasn't. For him, it was competition. It wasn't about. He wasn't going to bet to throw away a game or anything like that. I mean, you could go back to Pete Rose, where he bet on the Reds to win. He didn't bet on to lose. Those guys had an inner competition within them here. This, to me, is different.
Yeah, I agree. This is big time different because now you do affect the game for not only your teammates, but depending on the city, for millions of fans. So there is a problem, and we're about to go into a segment here in just a second that we promote that is literally picking against the spread. And the whole purpose of that, literally, I mean, it really is. It's the whole point. And you got people who Vegas rarely gets stuff wrong.
No, they always win. They make money.
And if you go to Caesar's Palace, I promise you, they never lose. They never lose.
Right up the road from here.
Yep. Harris right up in Cherokee. Mm-hmm. So
it's up in Murphy too. You're closer to Murphy than I am, probably.
Yeah, about a little over 2 hours.
Oh, then I'm closer to Murphy. Oh wow. I never thought of it that way. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. That'll take care.
So,
my favorite Atlanta subject's coming up.
Yeah, buddy.
Accident waiting to happen.
TCU a fool. Look, we all seen what's going on with these Atlanta Falcons. Coach Raheem Morris said in the press conference that he's okay with where Michael Penix is in his development. The defense, if you'd have told anybody that the Atlanta Falcons would have 13.5 sacks and 4 turnovers in 2 games and lose both of them, I would have took that bet that you had done lost your mind all the way to the bank. But yet here we are. Falcons 3rd in the league in defense, 4th in the league in sacks, and yet their offense is like an 80-year-old senior citizen driving a Corvette. They just can't get it together. TC, we've had fans calling for offensive coordinator Zach Roberts' head. You got fans that are beginning to call for head coach Raheem Morris' job. I do believe that if Carolina beats Atlanta on Sunday, Carolina's always been the fire game. That's what's got Dan Quinn. It's what got Arthur Smith. It has always been the fire game. My question, yeah. And so my question to you first,
we're going to get rid of one of the NFL games. JJ, I'm sorry to interrupt. We're going to get rid of one of the NFL games. We're going to pick the Falcons game. I'm just putting that now. Well, no, we can't because JJ already turned in his picks. So we'll have to pick the Falcons game for the fun of it this week, which I told him would ruffle Wayne's feathers more than a Falcons loss. So, sorry, Wayne. That was JJ's fault. He's a knucklehead, and I'll get it on record.
Well, you do get that on record. So, Wayne, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
2-part question. 1, what do you attribute the woes to the Falcons offense to? And number 2, are the Falcons done? Do they even sniff the playoffs this year?
I'm not sure that they're going to get to the playoffs this year. And as far as their problems on offense and maybe some on defense as well, is I feel like they are concentrating too much on what they have to do next and not just doing it automatic. If you look back at some championship teams, especially Kansas City or the Eagles or some of these others, you'll watch an offense or a defense from the moment the ball snapped. They just do what they have to do. There's no second guessing. There's no thinking about it. And I think that once the Falcons get beyond the thinking and can just, once the ball snapped, just go right to what they're supposed to do without thinking. That's the one key I think needs to happen to them, is they need to be more automatic and less guessing about what to do.
If you're thinking, you're sinking.
Yeah.
TC in the last 2 games, 1 for 18 on third down conversions. You keep doing that, you're not going to win a lot of football games, sir. What do we do to fix third down conversions?
Well, I mean, this is a team that when they have to have it on the offensive side of the ball, they don't get it. Team on the defensive side of the ball, when they have to have a stop, they don't make it. This is a team in special teams that either needs an extra point or a field goal. They don't get it. You can throw out all the numbers you want, defense, and special teams, but when the game is on the line, they don't finish or show up. It's happened all season long. When I watch them, and I'll get to your question, when I watch other teams like Philadelphia and Green Bay last night, now those are elite defenses, and they dominate a game. The Falcons are not an elite defense. They do not dominate a game, and they don't make a stop when it's absolutely necessary. They are miles away defensively from Philadelphia and Green Bay. I don't care what the hell Pro Football Focus says or the stats say. Now, to your answer on third down, they have a player that is one of the best in the NFL in Bijan Robinson. This guy is a superstar. They do not use him enough. He needs to touch the ball between 27 and 30 times a day, whether either running it or catching it. This guy is a weapon. A linebacker cannot cover him one-on-one. You can give him the wheel route. You can give him a scissors route. You can put him in the slot. You can give him the other slot, and he can run a crossing route. Zach Robinson has never called plays in his entire coaching career until he's calling plays with the Falcons. Everyone wants Raheem Morris fired. This is only his second year. Arthur Blank's not going to fire. Not this year. He's never fired anybody after year 2 that I can recall. He's made some serious mistakes firing coaches. His biggest mistake was firing Dan Reeves. That was just stuck on stupid. So, they've got to find ways to create ways to get Bijan Robinson the ball, and the offensive line needs to do a better job blocking for Robinson. But see, key teams have really keyed on Robinson. They have figured out if you can stop Robinson, you can stop the Falcons, even though they do have Drake London and they have a tight end who's mainly missing in action. They even have another great back in Algier. Get him the ball. Put them in the offense together. Try to create mismatches with your 2 running backs. That's how I would handle it. And I'm not an offensive coordinator.
I don't think you have to be. I think anyone, and I hate to say it like this because it's going to sound like I'm trying to demean the knowledge of professional football that Zach Robinson has. But at the end of the day, the Indianapolis Colts beat you because they made your defense stay on the field for 42 minutes. The Falcons have averaged over the last 2 games, their defense has been on the field for an average of 42 and a half in time of possession. I don't care if you're putting out the 85 Chicago Bears. Stamina is not going to allow you to play at that intense level that long. And Indianapolis saw it last week. That's why they kept giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor. 34 carries to to me, one of the top three in the MVP discussion right now. To me, it's him. It's Drake May, and I'll even throw a controversial one out there, and people will laugh at me for it. But until you can prove otherwise, Sam Darnold and what he's been able to do in Seattle, to have them at 7-2, I tell people, without looking at anything on the internet, you can't tell me three people that play for that team, and to have them as one of the best teams in the NFC, to me, he's in the MVP talk too. But we'll go on about that. Here's the deal.
Hey, Larry, coaching quarterback is the key to the entire league. Coach, quarterback, and defense.
Oh, we know. I mean, you look at your last Super Bowl winners. You know, if it don't tell you anything, defense yet still wins championships, but quarterbacks help drive the bus to get you there. And you're absolutely right.
Can I ask you guys this? The Falcons, the next three games: Carolina, New Orleans, and New York Jets. I mean, you look at that and go, yeah, they could be 6-6. Do you expect them to win the next three games? My answer is hell no. Then accident will happen, and they will find a way to lose at least one of these games. What do you think, Larry? And then Wayne.
Yeah. No. I think they'll go 2-1. I just don't know if the loss is going to come this week against Carolina or next week against the Saints.
My prediction is it'll come against the Space Cadets, the New York Jets.
If that happens, heads will roll. Because that is
what about
the
you,
most.
Wayne? What about you, Wayne? What? I think they'll lose to the Jets, and who knows? That quarterback from New Orleans is getting better.
No, well, unfortunately, when I met with Morpheus, I took the blue pill, and so I'm expecting I took the blue pill, and I'm expecting the Atlanta Falcons to win every single game, and then somehow make it into the playoffs. And we're going to have a glorious parade.
I think you're taking some other pill to make you feel better. There's just no way that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's no sense.
Wayne wakes up.
Yeah,
he wakes up and he sees. Yeah, you go ahead, Wayne. I'm sorry.
I was going to say there's no reason to try and drug test me because I've already tested all of them and they work fine.
Oh, you mentioned a certain color pill. I'm going to leave that alone too.
No, well, that's you'd have to go watch two movies in depth to understand that. One of them is Matrix, and before that, the Arnold Schwarzenegger character in Total Recall was offered the same option to come out of his dream. So one says you're come back to reality. The other says you're in dream world. And I'm staying in dream world.
Yeah, well, I'm back to reality, but I'm glad you correlated that movie with the Falcons. That was pretty good, actually.
Yep, he absolutely is right. So that's going to end our segment on the Atlanta Falcons, and it is going to open us up for a very, very, very sped up pick six. And boy, I don't want to brag, but yeah,
hey, Mr. 6-0. All right,
you should brag.
I can dig it.
I ain't gonna brag. I needed it, man, because LG has been stuck in big time. I'm talking about rotten egg levels. Well, we're gonna talk about it and we're gonna get into it. Say what, TC?
The standings. I know I sucked last week.
Yeah, we're gonna give it to them right now. By one game, JJ is up 34-31.
We'll never hear the end of if he wins. We'll never hear the end if he wins.
He went 4-2 last week. Right behind him is Wayne, one game. And his win-loss, he's at 33-32, one game behind JJ. Wayne went 500, 3-3 last week. TC at 31-34, went 2-4 last week. And me at 29-36 went 6-0. And I need another one of those weeks this week. Yeah, and I need, if I can get a 6-0 week this week, that'll put me right back in the swing of things. I'll be at 35-36, so I'll be almost right back to 500. So,
you know what? I usually do better in the last half of the year And JJ was up like 10 games on me with 2 weeks to play, and I almost tied him. He knows that I'm going to finish with a roaring fire. The question is, when am I going to get lit to get started? I haven't started yet.
Yeah, TC, we need to get you running up and going. The 6 of the best college football games from college and pro spreads are from today's spread lines from ESPNBet.com, and we will get to them right now. First game, the number 9 Notre Dame Fighting Irish at 7-2 will be on the road at Acrisure Stadium to take on the number 22 ranked Pittsburgh Panthers. The game is at noon on ABC this Saturday. Yeah, on ABC. Notre Dame.
God, you should do the pick six every week. I love your voice. The hell with JJ.
It's too funny. Notre Dame, 11.5 is on the spread. The over and under is 55.5. Todd, who are you taking?
11.5 now?
11.5.
It went up to 12.5 when I looked a minute ago. You know what? C to me is the worst of the Power Four conferences. Pitt, though, is on a roll. Their coach said this game didn't matter, Pat Narduzzi. We can lose this game and win the rest of them and get in the playoff. Well, guess what, Pat? You guys are going to get your ass kicked, and I got Notre Dame big. Give me the Irish. They're the ones that must win if they have any thoughts of getting the playoffs. And I think they go into Pittsburgh, and with a ton of Catholics in Pittsburgh, they'll have a ton of fans filling up the former ketchup bottle. And I like me some Jeremiah Love, giving some real love to Pitt, and they spank them. Notre Dame covers.
Notre Dame Fighting Irish belongs to TC. Wayne, what say you?
Man, that's a bunch of points. I'm gonna tell you, I like this point spread, so I'm taking Pittsburgh in the points.
The point spread is for Wayne, and Wayne, I kind of like your idea of thinking. My only problem is with that Pittsburgh is not as deep as Notre Dame. I don't think that they can even compete for an entire 4 quarters with the way Notre Dame has been playing as of late. Notre Dame's on a roll. They've got something to prove. I do believe, as bad as I want to pick Pitt, because 11.5 is a big spread. And my gut continues to say, Larry, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But I think Notre Dame covers, man. I think there's just too much athleticism. It's too much power, and Notre Dame handles business. JJ is also taking Notre Dame to cover. Let's go to our second game of the Pick Six, and it has a big one. The Oklahoma Sooners, the number 11th ranked team in the nation at 7-2. Heads to the friendly confines of Bryant-Denny Stadium at Nick Saban Field in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The spread, the Crimson Tide, 6.5. Over-under, 45.5. This game will be on ABC at 3:30 on Saturday. Wayne, what are you thinking?
Man, Alabama at home this late in the season, I'll take Alabama to cover on this one.
Roll Tide for Wayne.
I didn't say it. Now listen, I didn't say that. I just said I picked them to win.
Oh, you picked them to win, okay?
Well, I ain't saying that other thing.
All right.
No, I'm picking Alabama.
No, but he's picking Alabama. He just wasn't gonna say Roll Tide.
Sorry, yeah, he's an Auburn guy. I'll say it. Roll Tide. They win by at least a touchdown, even though Mateer and company, they're gonna. Look, it's a big game for Oklahoma, a huge game from Alabama. No way is Alabama losing at home. They're just too good, and they got a Heisman Trophy quarterback, contender at quarterback, in Simpson, and I've got Roll Tide.
Yeah, it's going to be a clean sweep for all of us, man. Oklahoma has done real well. Brent Venables has coached them guys up from where they started to where they are at this point in the season, and they still have a lot to play for in trying to get into the college football playoffs. But beating Alabama at home, that's a tough thing to do. And can they keep it within a touchdown? That's my thought process. At 6.5, man, Alabama wins by at least a touchdown. We'll keep it flowing. We'll keep it moving. This one, to me, is the hardest game out of this whole gauntlet to pick.
Is JJ of Alabama?
Yes, he did. JJ also took Alabama to handle business. This next game, the number 21 Iowa Hawkeyes at 6-3 are on the road at the Los Angeles Coliseum to take on the number 17 USC Trojans. At 7-2 as well. The spread is USC is favored by 6.5. The total over under 49.5. This game is at 3:30 on Fox on Saturday. TC, we'll start off with you with this one, man. What do you think?
You know what? Iowa did really super well against super well against Oregon. Super well. It's getting late. Against Oregon, they did everything right defensively. Still lost. I mean, Oregon has a really good defense. I don't think USC's defense is as good as Oregon's. But here's the problem. Iowa's got to jump on a plane and come out to Southern California. If this game was at Iowa, I think Iowa could win it and definitely cover and win it. But they're going out to Southern California. No. I think USC, what did you say, 6.5? I think USC will find a way to win by touchdown. They're too explosive on offense. This is a huge game for them. They still have a shot to get into the playoff with only one conference loss. I've got the Trojans at home covering.
The Trojans to handle business. Wayne, what say you, my guy?
I want Iowa in the points on this one. I know normally I told everybody I was going to start picking Utah, but I didn't say anything about Iowa. So I just, for some reason, I like Iowa in this game.
Yeah, Wayne, I understand where you're coming from with that. JJ is picking USC to cover.
I hate that.
Yeah, I know, but Oregon had one of the most high prolific offenses in football, and Iowa shut them down.
They did. But you got to remember the weather conditions and all that. It's a little bit different.
Well, it was a little cooler. The weather wasn't too bad. It was a little cool, like what Iowa weather is in November. It doesn't play up to the track meet style of football playing, but Iowa does that no matter where they go. They are a absolute gritty, hay bale toting, just gridiron type football team, and they want to ground you and grind you to death. And Wayne, I'm with you, man. I'm taking Iowa to cover that spread. I think USC wins. But I think Iowa keeps it close. They have kept most every game that they have played this season close. They don't allow a lot of blowouts. And even though USC has a lot to play for, Iowa still does too. I know they ain't going to have a lot to deal with when it comes to the Big Ten and what the final rankings will end up being there. But this is a big matchup. It was tough for me, and I went back and forth several times in trying to figure this one out. But Wayne, I'm with you. I'm going with Iowa. So we got 2 USCs and we got 2 Hawkeyes. Let's move to the Larry Lock of the Week pick. If you don't get any of them right, baby, you're going to get this one right. Y'all better listen to LG on this one. The number 10 Texas Longhorns, under the leadership of Arch Manning, at 7-2, roll into Sanford Stadium between the hedges to take on the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs at 8-1. 7:30 p.m. on ABC Saturday night. UGA is favored by 5.5. The over/under is 48.5. Wayne, why are you picking the Bulldogs?
I'm picking the Bulldogs because I want Sarkisian to leave Texas and come to Atlanta for the Falcons job once that comes open.
Todd, what you got, man?
Oh my God, I don't even know if I want to go after that. Hearing your voice deep down in Sanford Stadium, I can't even do it. Let me see. I can do. What I can do is Ed Orgeron.
Yeah.
I can do his voice.
Yeah.
I love President Trump. He just makes me laugh, man. That's what he says. I mean, he's got that deep voice. I love LSU.
He's got the deep gravel to his voice right there. Yeah. Go Tigers.
No, we need
Right,
to send,
exactly.
TC, I'm going to send you some Barry White music, and you can listen to that and help you out some. You sing along with that.
You send me some Temptations. I'll tell you what, I'm a Detroiter now. You can send me Motown. You can send me all that. I'm all into that. Okay, let's go. Let's see. What's the spread for this game? 5.5?
5.5, UGA.
You know what? This comes down to two things. Can Georgia stop? They stop Arch Manning and throwing the ball because their secondary's been torched, and they get off to slow starts, and they can't get off to a slow start against Texas, even though it's at home. Number two, can Georgia run the football on Texas? Texas's defense has done pretty well against the run, but they haven't faced an offensive line like this or a deep running back core like this. I like the Dogs at home. They're savages at home under Kirby Smart. They don't lose at home unless it's to Alabama. I like the Dogs, and I like them by at least 7. 5.5 is a gift. Dogs.
JJ is also picking the Dogs to cover.
Of course he is.
I'm going against the grain.
Man.
I'm going against the grain. I'm picking Texas, and I'm going to tell you why. Unfortunately, this season, the Georgia Bulldogs have allowed so many different points through the air that it is absolutely just mind-boggling. This is not the Georgia defenses that we have seen under the Stetson Bennett back-to-back national champions.
Agree.
I was able to watch how Florida boat raced this Texas team by utilizing speed. Well, Georgia does have one of the most prolific wide receivers in the country in Branch, and he's able to do a lot with it. But the problem that I also saw is Florida was able to make Gunner very uncomfortable by running a lot of stunts up on the defensive line. And what that did was that prevented them from being able to get the running game going until later into the fourth quarter when they broke open the big 35-yard touchdown run that really sealed the game against Florida. So all that to just say this. I've seen what Georgia's done with Tennessee. I've seen them do it against Ole Miss. I've seen them do it against Florida. Georgia does not blow teams out. They win by the hair. They just win by the hair of their chin. So Georgia wins this game, but I think they win it by a field goal. I think this is going to be like a 34-31 type football game. Give me Texas and hook them hard, baby.
Well, man, you knew JJ was going to pick Georgia in the pom-poms. I mean, I can just see that now. He's probably doing it at home. He's probably got his pom-poms out before he goes to bed. You know he's picking Georgia. He's not going to pick against him. So, all right, we got, 2 NFL games left before we get into
2 NFL games, and we've got
Falcons are not one of them. So we know Wayne's picking the Falcons. I'm actually going to pick the Falcons to win this week for the fun of it. I don't know why I am. I think I've gotten falconitis or something. I got some kind of disease going, but I'll pick Atlanta. We know Wayne's picking Atlanta. Larry, you picking Atlanta?
Yeah, I think they win this week, but I think they lose against the Saints next week.
Yes. I'm telling you, that'll happen. Falconitis. If you catch it, you're in trouble. Wayne's caught it. Look at him. He's diseased out. You caught it too, Larry. Ride with Ritter. Ride with Penix. Ride with nobody but the Big L.
Save a lot of gas riding with other people, though.
That's true.
Yeah, y'all are funny. Our next
All right.
and first NFL game pits the Seattle Seahawks at 7-2 versus their NFC West foe, the Los Angeles Rams. Also at 7-2, this game will decide who takes over first place in the NFC West. This game will be at 4:05 on Fox on Sunday. The over-under is 48.5. The Rams are favored by 2.5. Wayne, what say you?
Man, you're going to laugh again when I tell you how I picked this game because I don't like either one of these teams. So I thought about how Southern girls say each one of these teams, and I think I like the way they say Rams better than they do Seahawks. So I'm taking the Rams.
Wayne is going with L.A. TC, what about you?
I'm betting against Matthew Stafford, man. I can't top that. I'm gonna go with the Rams, and I'm gonna go. They cover the spread. Matthew Stafford, the former dog, will have a big day. But Seattle's got a pretty good defense, but I just believe in the former dog. Give me the Rams.
Who does JJ got in that game?
Y'all are hilarious. I don't know what y'all done got into tonight. He's taking the Seahawks in the point. He thinks Seattle's going to handle business. He believes in Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that's because they get a nice stadium up there. But they're playing down in L.A. though.
Correct, and that is
going to be a
the
home
main
game
reason.
for Seattle. The Rams fans ain't coming.
Well, and see if they were playing in Seattle, cold, windy. 12-man, I would take Seattle in the points. But Matthew Stafford's playing at an MVP level. Puka Nacua is having one of the best seasons that he had as a wide receiver. Sean McVay continues to put this team in positions to just win football games. I won't give a long analysis, but give me the Rams. I think the Rams are going to handle business as well.
I like the Rams.
Yeah, our final game pits TC's Detroit Lions and the Sonic and Knuckles combination. The Fighting Dan Campbells at 6-3 head to the snow-tundered field of Lincoln Financial in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at 6-2. Philadelphia is favored by 1.5. It is a Sunday night football game on NBC. 48.5 is your spread. TC, I will start with you.
Oh, man. Look, Detroit has had problems with teams that pressure up the middle, and the Eagles do that well. Supposedly now Dan Campbell's calling the plays, and it sure did look like it on the sidelines when they spanked Washington this week. Philadelphia is a 1.5-point favorite at home. You really got to take the Eagles, and I want Detroit to win. I have a Red Wings thing on, but we're betting not with our heart. We're betting with our mind, and Philadelphia's defense is just better than Detroit's, even though Detroit did show up against Baltimore and sack Lamar 9 times. They're going to need that effort against Jalen Hurts, and they're going to have to be able to stop the Philadelphia running game. And I don't know. It'll take a Herculean effort to win. Detroit's going to have to control the time of possession, ball control with Sonic and Knuckles, and play action pass. And they're going to have to put somebody in the backfield to protect Jared Goff. They're going to have to leave an extra guy in there, because that Philadelphia defense, to me, is the best in the NFL, and that's why I'm picking Philadelphia. I want to pick Detroit, but I can't. I think Philadelphia wins this game. And covers.
Well, I'm going to take – I don't think either one of these teams is too happy with where they're at right now, because I think both of them expected to have more than 6 wins. But I think the Lions are the most angry, and I think that's what's going to push them ahead of the Eagles. And as far as this point,
God, I hope you're right.
As far as this over-under goes, that is way too high. You better bet the under on that, because that's just ridiculous high.
Well, if you're Detroit, you want it to go over, because that means the game's going at your pace. If it's way under, I think they're in trouble, because if they have to have a fist fight with Philadelphia, I don't see them winning that fist fight. They're going to have to spread them out and wear them out.
I don't think Philadelphia's got the running backs that they used to have. I don't think they're the same running team.
And
that's a 28-21
what's the other dude
game
from Clemson? He's a stud. What's the other guy's name?
The other guy from where?
Philly's running back, Saquon Barkley. Then it's what, Shipley? Is that his name? He went to Clemson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Two studs at running back.
To me, they're not as good as they were, let's say, a year ago.
Saquon?
Well, the Eagles all around.
There.
Well, Saquon is starting to get his engine revved up, and that's kind of the reason why Philadelphia has hit this resurgence in their wins. Is he's getting back up to the form that he just killed the league last year, and he's getting back up to that form. That being said, though, so is Jahmyr Gibbs. And the local Dalton, Georgia resident has absolutely put the league on notice that while Knuckles and David Montgomery is getting a lot of attention from his touchdown passing and his power running game, Jahmyr Gibbs is legit. And I know the world knows it. The problem I have with Detroit, the corners don't cover well. And if the front seven don't get pressure, look out. And unfortunately, Jalen Hurts has finally started connecting with both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. That's bad news for defenses. I won't go long, but give me the Eagles to cover. And I think they're going to win. And I wish this game was in Detroit, but because it is in Philly, I'm taking the Eagles. And the Eagles defense is still, as TC said, it's one of the best in the league. JJ, however, is taking Detroit and the points. He thinks that Detroit will be able to handle business. Dan Campbell will call some plays that will free up Jared Goff, and Sonic and Knuckles will get all the rings that they need and head to their next game.
John, I hope he's right.
3 at 7.
I'll lose that game in the pick 6. If the Lions win, I'll be happy.
I think a lot of us will, man. I think a lot of us will, but that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up our Pick 6 segment for the weekend. We were going to get ready to wrap up our show. Sorry that we held you so long, but we had a lot of great content to be able to share with you. Of course, at ATL Prime Sports, we got it's a rarity a lot of times with everybody's schedules that we get JJ, TC, myself, and Wayne all in at the same time. But as we approach the holiday season, I am sure that we will be able to get all of us on for some good content. If you like the show, again, as we said earlier, like us, subscribe, follow, share. Catch us on everywhere that you can catch your podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it, we're there. So let's help grow this brand and grow our following and give you all the great sports content that you desire here in our areas. We wrap up the show. We're going to give our final thoughts. TC, we will start with you, sir.
Thank you. Scooble and Steen, Cy Young Awards, Tigers and Pirates, the 2 best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and congratulations to the Dodgers on the repeat, the first time since the Yankees three-peated back in the late 90s.
Awesome, sir. Wayne, what you got for us, sir?
Well, yesterday we celebrated Veterans Day, and I just wanted to extend that a little bit and say a big thank you to the veterans. I have many family members who are in the service, and I appreciate everything that they have done for us.
I second that.
You're absolutely right. I third that, Wayne. And
all right.
Breaking news here on ATL Prime Sports. The government shutdown is officially over. The bill has been sent to President Trump's desk, and it is awaiting on him to sign it. The longest government shutdown in American history is now over. My final thought has to circle around. Yes, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't ever hear it anywhere else, you'll hear it here first. Congratulations goes out to Drake Baldwin, your National League Rookie of the Year, first catcher to win Rookie of the Year since 2010, and a young kid from San Francisco by the name of Buster Posey won the award back in 2010. Drake Baldwin has shown himself to be a very versatile and a very much needed piece to the success of the Atlanta Braves. I was able to cover Drake at Rome when he first got on the scene. I've got a baseball that's autographed by him and Nacho Alvarez that sits on my bookshelf. Several pictures with Drake, had several conversations with the guy. He is an absolute wonderful human being, and he's just as good of a person as he is as a baseball player. And I look forward to being able to watch many more seasons of him helping either back up or DH there at Truist Park. That wraps
I
up
like
the
the
show
hire
for
of Walt
tonight.
Weiss, gentlemen. I like that hire. That's the Braves way. I like the hire of Walt Weiss.
Yeah, I like the stats that they've actually assembled around him as well. And I think it's going to, here's a sneak peek for a thought that I either intro with next week or close with next week. We might have a new closer by the name of Diaz that comes from New York due to some coaching agreements that we've got in here. Stay tuned, because the Atlanta Braves catching and closing situations might be on lockdown. That wraps up another show, ATL Prime Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with you next week from the friendly confines of the Woodstock area for TC, for Memphis, Tennessee, for Wayne, for JJ, who's on assignment at home doing some things. They're in Lilburn. I'm Larry Gardner here from Adairsville. JJ would say, get you one. But because I'm wishing that my Falcons will win on Sunday, we're going to leave y'all with a rise up and do the dirty bird. We'll see you next week. Thank y'all so much.